Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. It's good to see you, as it always is. I hope you're all doing well. We're into the third round. Over in Toronto, as always, we'll be going through each and every one of these matches that we've got for today. It shouldn't take that much of your time. Before we get into them, like the video. If you'd be so kind, get yourself subscribed to the channel. If you're not already, it would be an honour to welcome you to the squad. Get yourself involved. And be sure to get your comments in with your predictions as well. Share with the group. Don't be shy. Anything that I'm going for personally will always be in that pinned comments. So if you want to have a look at that, be my guest. And very well. Very well. First things first, we'll do somewhat of a semi-recap. I've got some night shifts to go to. So the majority of these games are still yet to be played. But I'll go first. Very disappointed in Cam Norrie, as I imagine everyone who had a bit of business with that guy today will be. I'll accept anything that needs to be said about Cam Norrie for one day, and then we'll just forget about it. I thought it was toast from the get-go. Give me a little bit of hope, just a glimmer of hope in that second set, and then you know how the saying goes, it's the hope that kills you, is it not? It's alright, I was close, very close on that one. Gabe Diallo did manage to get that game done, very close on the parlay. But it is far from over for me today. Currently, I've still got Watanuki plus the 3.5 against Big Foe. Fingers crossed, could do with that one. Got that at a nice even price. And then later on tonight, I'll be sitting in work watching Francisco Comesaña hopefully cover that spread against Alex de Minaur. So like I said, still in with more than a shot to come out ahead today. So fingers crossed, wish me the best of luck. Will you let me know? Did you win? Did you lose? Did you just come close? And we'll just get right down to business, folks. Let's get it on. So, first off, for us today is going to be Khachanov, Emilio Nava, getting Khachanov around 1.3. He opened up at 1.2. Still a rather big favourite in this one. Emilio Nava just a few shy of a 3-1 dog in this. And I think he's been playing well. I think he's been playing fairly decent. You know, a couple of weeks ago, before we started in Mexico, we were saying Emilio Nava's barely touched the hard court all season. Weren't too sure how he was going to take to the surface. Basically been on the clay for the majority of the year. And since we've come back to the hard court, he's won 5-2. Alexander Vukic in straight sets, which is what Cam Norrie should have done today. Unbelievable, but Vukic in straight sets, Boo in 3. Mitchell Kruger, Zizou Bergs, Terence Atman, all in straight sets. In Toronto, he's been beat by Rublev and Tien. It's not bad. It's most certainly not bad, considering I didn't have much expectations for him coming back onto the surface. Very, very good indeed. And Khachanov getting past Vukic in the first round. More than expected. More than expected. Now you don't need me to explain the difference in levels between these two. I mean, Nava currently just sitting outside that top 100. I imagine he'll be within the top 100 very, very soon, the way he's playing. Khachanov, 16 in the world. There is always levels. There is always levels. I would imagine Khachanov's going to give you a bit of a tougher time than pretty much all of those. I mean, look, the last time he faced a really high level, well, a high-ranked opponent was Andrei Rublev. And although he didn't beat him, he most certainly gave him a good fucking go. I'll give him that. Absolutely. Khachanov just seems to be... I don't know for certain because we've only seen one match coming back to the hard court, but I'd be willing to bet this guy is riding off the back of the form that he hit over in the grass campaign, as we mentioned. 10 wins, 3 losses on the grass. Got to the quarterfinals in Wimbledon. Had a decent game with Taylor Fritz, didn't win that, and we haven't seen him since until the other day. Straight sets against Vukic. I mean, probably wasn't... I was going to say it wasn't the cleanest performance, but I mean, 6-4, 6-2. What more could you ask for there? All right, he was heavily favoured to get that one done, but a win's a win. Do I trust Khachanov at 1.3? You probably should, but the way this week's been going, I think giving a couple of these dogs a couple games on the spread ain't a bad way to look. Most certainly isn't a bad way to look. I've seen more from Emilio Nava since we've come back to the hard court, admittingly, you kind of know what you're going to get from Khachanov, providing he turns up. Weren't that great earlier on in the season. 6 wins, 6 losses, 0-1 indoors. It's not that trustworthy. Certainly not that trustworthy in this. I do feel like he should most definitely be beating the likes of an Emilio Nava. Let's just say an opponent ranked outside the top 100, but Nava is most definitely playing some good tennis, I can't deny. I've been catching his games. I've been impressed. I've been fairly impressed. If you can give Rublev a decent go like that, I imagine you could give Khachanov a decent go. I think he stands a really good chance at covering that spread at 1.3. I just wouldn't be going anywhere near Khachanov if you were betting this one. I think we could be in for maybe a little over. Maybe check the total on this one. I would probably lean towards Nava plus them points, although I wouldn't pick it with a lot of conviction. Would I be totally surprised if Khachanov wins this in straight sets? Probably not. But I don't know. I'd like to think Nava maybe doesn't fancy himself to get the win. Although I don't know why he shouldn't. Like I say, we've got more form to go off, more current hardcore form to go off for the American. How much do I expect from him on the day? I expect him to turn up and give it his best, just like he pretty much has done since we've come back. I say though, the game against Tien was a little bit of a stinker. He maybe chalked that off to a bit of a tournament hangover from getting to the quarters in Mexico, then going over to Washington. It is what it is. I don't really care about that one. He's on a 3-game winning streak. He's looked solid this week over in Toronto. Hasn't dropped a set so far. I imagine he gives Khachanov a fairly decent go. Just looking at the price anyway, I'd much rather take the dog on the spread in that one. 1.3 seems a little bit steep for me to put my trust in Karen Khachanov today. Although, at 1.3, look, he's heavily favoured to win. You don't really need to tell you that, Khachanov should win this game. He probably should, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did. But can't sleep on these dogs. They seem to have more to play for. They seem to be a little bit more hungry than some of these favourites this week. So just keep an eye on it if you don't fancy it. I don't think I'm going to touch that one personally. But like I said, if you can get 4.5 for Nava, which that might be a stretch, 3.5, is that going to be enough? I don't know. I don't think I'm going to bet that one personally, but like I said, if you want to look at Nava on them points, be my guest. And then we've got Zverev, Matteo Arnaldi. Once again, odds are pretty much, identical on this one as well. Maybe a little bit of a bigger favourite for Zverev, 1.2 to be exact. You get Matteo Arnaldi around 4.6, is that 4.4 to 4.6, varying. It's up and down. Big dog, big price for the Italian today. How's he going to get on against Alexander Zverev? They did play each other earlier on in the season over in Acapulco. Very close game indeed. Arnaldi took a set in that one. It's the only time they've played each other too. Tie break in the first for the Italian. 6-3, 6-4 in the second and third for Zverev. We probably would have expected him to win that one, although, like I say, probably a little bit closer than what the odds would have suggested, and I would not be surprised to see maybe somewhat more of the same over in this one today. Zverev got past Adam Walton in the first round, fully expected. Maybe a lot closer, a hell of a lot closer than what you would have liked if you'd done any business with Zverev in that one. Tie break in the first, and then 6-4 in the second. Call that a covered spread for the Australian there. I don't see why Arnaldi wouldn't be able to cover that. Like I said, if I could get 4.5 for the Italian, I think I'd be rather tempted to look in that direction. You'd have just about covered it last time. The half a game would have saved you last time, so maybe a 4.5, 3.5 probably right on the nose with this one. It's a tough one going against Zverev, especially tough trying to find an angle to go against them. I most certainly am expecting Alexander Zverev to win this one, but at 1.2, I don't feel like there's a lot of business to be done with that. Personally, it's certainly not worth sweating a parlay over. Absolutely not. Much more consistent, just more solid. He's just a better player, one of the best in the world. 9 wins, 7 losses for the Italian this year on the surface, 2-1. Indoors, 12-4 for Alexander Zverev. Went on one hell of a run in the Australian Open, for those that remember that. Got to the final, ended up getting beat by Jannik Sinner, no shame in that. And then he kind of dipped out of form after that. Got himself that title in Munich. He has been to 3 finals this year. I mean, it's Zverev we're talking about. You know, got himself that title over on the clay. And now we're back on the hard court. Very close game against Adam Walton, and he came into that as 1.1. Humongous, tremendous favourite. Oh, Flavio Caboli's just ended up coming back and finishing that one. Good stuff. Where were we? Yeah, Zverev, the price is just too steep. It's just too steep to risk it, but I don't know, I could be wrong. It seems like the only favourites that are winning this week are the ones that are 1.2 less. You know what I mean? Anything greater than 1.3 seems to be a massive fucking risk so far the past few days. Like I said, I stand by. If you can get 4.5 for Matteo Arnaldi, I'd maybe consider looking in that direction if you're trying to find some value. Had a close game with Tristan Schoolkate in his first match, so maybe not all that you would have wanted to see prior to taking on Zverev. So I don't think I could take that one. I'm not really fancying forcing anything in that. Say Zverev, 1.2, he turns up, he wins. Everyone says, oh yeah, we expected it, but say you're going to have to parlay like 4 or 5 of these favourites today to get like a decent one on the go, so not too sure how I feel about that. Say, if you're just going for a crazy parlay, I'd expect Zverev to win. I'm not advising anyone to take that at 1.2, absolutely not. Then who's next? Got Lerner Tien. Good old Lerner Tien. And Rally Opelka, all-American shootout. These can be rather interesting to say the least. These played each other once before, earlier on in the season, on the clay in Rome, and that went the way of Lerner Tien. Very close match indeed, 6-4, and then a very tough tiebreaker in the second. Both of these have been fairly decent on the hard court. Both of them have been fairly decent indeed. No secret to us, they tend to do all of the business over on this surface, especially Lerner Tien. 15-7 so far this season, and then 12-7 for Riley Opelka. Say good stuff. Complete contrast in styles. Complete contrast in styles in this one. You've got to just pick a side. You pick a side and just you hope for the best in this. Lerner Tien impressed me against Chapeau, but it's just classic Chapeau that, innit? Coming in, first game, home tournament, coming off the back of that title as well. Oh, Gabe Diallo's just won as well. Cam Norrie, you bastard. So close with that one. I've still got Watanuki and Komisania to play, so fingers crossed for them. It's not over for me yet. Where were we getting sidetracked again? El Chapeau, yeah. Coming in, big favourite, after looking like one of the best players on the tour. Over in, what was it? What tournament was it that he was just in? Los Cabos. Sorry, I was getting mixed up. Couldn't remember whether it was Washington or not. Yeah, he looked fantastic in Mexico. Turns up in the Canadian Masters and you go, you know what? I fancy a bit of Chapeau in this. Doesn't even win a set. And you can't say he didn't have more than enough chances to do it. You know, great stuff from Lerner Tien. He got past Colton Smith in the first round, straight sets, and then he's just taken out what some consider as a rather decent sleeper for, I'm not going to say the title, but for at least a nice run this week over in Canada based on what we've just seen. But absolutely not. Lerner Tien had something to say about that. And then Riley Opelka getting past Sebastian Offner in the first round. And these played each other. Haven't we just seen this? Oh, we've seen it earlier. I'm getting confused. I was thinking of the Struff match, but we have seen this earlier on in the season. Yeah, they played each other twice this year. Beat Sebastian Offner in the first round. Straight sets. We kinda knew you'd do that. Kind of threw that one out there. And then, he done good against Thomas Mahatch last night. I was watching that. That ended up running on a little bit late, but 2 tie breaks, 6-3. Happy days for Raleigh Opelka. Good shit, good job, mate. But I'll say this, and it's always the same when we're dealing with Raleigh Opelka. Decent performance, solid against Offner, fantastic against Thomas Mahatch to come out with the win. But the deeper we get into these tournaments, the more question marks start to arise surrounding the fitness of Raleigh Opelka. That's just the way I look at it. I can't help it as well. I just can't help but feel that way. I imagine some of you feel the same too. Tien just doesn't seem to get tired. He doesn't seem to get tired. Now, there's no way he's going to be as powerful as Raleigh Opelka. But if you can manage to wrap yourself around that serve, I do feel like Tien, most definitely, probably safe to say he has a few more tools in the bag, as far as shot making and whatnot. Raleigh Opelka, we kind of know what we're going to get. He's going to try and serve you out, just smoke it out from that first serve, and then if not, he'll just try and bully you with just supreme power shots. The last thing I would have wanted to have seen from Raleigh Opelka coming into a match like this, especially with it being the third one in the tournament, is 2 tie breaks and a third set the match before. That's a grueling match at the best of times. It really is. If it was the first game, I'd go, okay, maybe not that bad. With it being the second one, those question marks grow even larger for me. So I would probably have to lean towards Tien. It's very close on the odds, very close. He opened up around 1.5, is that? If this is true, I mean, he opened up at 1.5, and I'm now seeing Tien at 1.8. Clearly, quite a lot of people fancying a piece of Big Riley today. I mean, I couldn't suck it off at that. Couldn't suck it off. I think he should be good for at least a set. If he can keep on top of his game, he should be good for at least a set. He could just turn up and smash the fuck out of Tien. There's not a lot pretty much anyone can do against the service power and the service games of Raleigh Opelka when they're coming good. But are we going to get it? I suppose we'll know. It's perfect to bet in place something like this. I need to sort something out, don't I? There's loads of these days, loads of matches where I think we'd be better off assessing the situation once we've had a couple of games, but I don't know. I'll get to it. Any suggestions, please do let me know if anyone's still watching currently at this specific point. I'd like to lean towards Tien. I'd definitely give him the edge in the fitness and whatnot. Yet to drop a set as well. So I don't know. I don't know what I thought. Actually, 1.5 to 1.8 is one hell of a drop. It is. It's one hell of a drop indeed. Don't really know how I feel about that. Could we be in for an over in this one? Do you think this one goes over? Let me just actually, you know what? I think we could be in for an over. Both of them turn up, play as good as what they've done in the past two. I can see Opelka just turning up, doing what he does, just robotic, bang, 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 first serves. And then, like I said, Tien's not going to possess the same amount of firepower, but providing he can serve well, I feel like he should be able to outmaneuver Raleigh Opelka, most definitely. I'd probably give the slight edge at the moment to Tien, maybe lean towards an over. Or, hey, look, it's Raleigh Opelka, just go for the tiebreak here. Maybe have a look at the price for a tiebreak in this one. And then next up, got Daniel Medvedev and Alexei Popyrin. I think Daniel Medvedev beats him. I think Daniel Medvedev should be getting it done against Alexei Popyrin over on the hard court. Head to head is 4-1 to Medvedev in this spot. He played each other earlier on in the season over on the clay in Rome. Third round, Medvedev absolutely bullied him 6-4, 6-1. And then the time before that were probably the most recent out of the bunch as well, before we're going back to 2021. Alexei Popyrin, Paris Masters last year, indoor hard court, 6-4, 2-6, and then a tiebreak. Even the games in 2021, 2020, Medvedev did win the first three. Anything but easy. Rather close games, relatively close to say the least.
I'm seeing Medvedev around 1.3. 1.3 opened up around 1.2, something like that. Currently sitting at 1.3. Doesn't really mean much. Not a bad price for Alexei Popyrin. Played a rather solid game against the young Canadian in his first match. Kind of expected him to win that. What was the odds for him to win that? It was ridiculous, weren't it? Can I get this up? That doesn't matter anyway. Yeah, he was like 1.05. I remember I took the Canadian plus that 5.5. Very, very grateful for that one this week. But he did get the win. Anything but easy. Tie break in the first. Kinda made it a bit easier for himself in the second. 6-3. Like I said, I expected him to win. But I do give a quick tip of the cap to Nicholas Arsenal in that one. I thought he put on a decent performance. Medvedev, routine win against Zvesina in his first match. We expected nothing less. But then again, more of the same. Tiebreak 6-4. Keeping it close. These dogs are most certainly keeping it close to turning up with something to prove. Now they're pitted against each other. Neither one dropped a set. Now, you don't need me to tell you, Daniel Medvedev's probably been, although it may not seem like it to some, the record, the numbers don't lie. He's been a lot more trustworthy, especially over on the hard court this season, when compared to Alexei Popyrin. Popyrin's just on 4-8. 4-8 overall, 3-7 on the surface, 0-1 indoors. That win against the young Canadian lad was just his third win. Third win all season on the hard court. Now, we said it in the previous match, didn't we? I think Alexei Popyrin was playing a hell of a lot better than this last summer. Absolutely, no doubt about it. He had a close game. Both of them had close games. But if you're having a close game with the young lad, you're going to probably struggle a hell of a lot more against Medvedev. But I suppose the same could be said for the Russian in this one. You pretty much have got to go off what you know. 1.3. Although I've just said, the numbers would suggest Medvedev has been a hell of a lot more consistent and trustworthy so far this season. He's put in a few stinkers. He's put in quite a few stinkers, and it's been rather difficult to try and predict when he's going to do it. Say 26 and 15 overall this year, much better than 14 and 18. 1.3. Maybe it's just one of them. Like there's not a lot of meat on the bone today. There's really not. I'm expecting Medvedev to win. But there's something within me that's saying if I could get 4.5 games with Alexei Popyrin, and he can just turn up and serve well enough like he done in his first match. He's got a really good forehand. Even though he hasn't really showcased it a lot this season, we know that it's most definitely there. And I feel like if he can get it off, there was definitely times in that match against Arsenal when I thought, this forehand's fucking deadly. It's so deadly when he can whip it off. Really hard to deal with. There's just something within me. I can picture him just doing that and at least squeezing a 4.5, maybe even a 3.5 out of Medvedev. This is probably one of the matches where I wouldn't mind. And it probably kills me to say it. I can't believe I'm saying it, but Alexei Popyrin plus that 4.5, providing you can get 4.5. I could be wrong. It may just be the 3, and in that case, I'm not too sure. I'm just trying to find a better angle, try and get a better number for you. Daniel Medvedev 1.3. I mean, if there's any takers on that, be my guest. He is the better player, more proven on the hard court. That goes without saying. 1.3 is a bit steep. 1.3 is a bit steep. And although Alexei Popyrin hasn't been playing that good all season, I'm kind of still waiting for a point for him to snap back into form. And it was around this point last year he started playing really, really good as well. So rather hesitant. 1.3 is probably as steep as it's going to get for a parlay piece, but I can't help but look away from maybe Popyrin for a set. Popyrin on the spread. It's probably not a bad way to look at that one. But I would expect Medvedev to get it done. And so I imagine the majority of us are expecting Daniel Medvedev to come in and win this one. I don't see why the hell not. Right, next up, it's going to be Nuno Borges and Casper Ruud. I'm looking forward to watching this one. This should be a very decent one to watch. Head-to-head is 1 apiece. Seen each other twice before. Most recently in the French Open this season, for those that remember that. Early exit for Casper Ruud. Very, very surprising upset that was. Borges, 3-1. Casper Ruud came out absolutely flying in that first set, 6-2. And then it just went from bad to worse, 6-4, 6-1. And then a nice toasty bagel to see it off in the fourth. Now you'd have expected Casper Ruud to be the one dealing out the majority of the punishment over on the clay. But they played each other last year, around this time as well, around this time of the season. Los Cabos, to be precise. We seen that a couple of weeks ago. And that went the way of Casper Ruud in straight sets, 6-3, 6-2 in the quarterfinal. I probably would have expected Casper Ruud to win the match on the clay if I had to guess which one out of them two. But no, it's neither here nor there. Probably suits you a bit more today if you're looking on taking Casper Ruud, currently sitting at 1.5. A little bit similar to what he was against Roman Safiullin. Now, I did say, didn't I, after what I witnessed in the quarterfinals against JM Cerundolo, I weren't too keen on dealing with Casper Ruud in that match with Cerundolo, and it was a fairly decent price as far as a parlay piece goes, and I did say we'll probably sit here in a day or two's time and look back and go, you know what, it was an easy steal. That would have been easy money. But I was all right. I was more than fine with sitting off that one and just letting it be. Getting them at a similar price here, 1.5. Now I'm a bit more tempted to take this, but I feel like that's just what they want. I am very tempted to take Casper Ruud, but I said it the other day, and shout out to you as well, because one of you did actually remind me. I done good enough to stay away from it, but if you look on the pinned comment and you see me dealing with Casper Ruud today, it is your duty. It is your duty to talk me off of that. Now, I'm going to refrain from doing so. It's probably not going to be there, but just on the off chance it is, you know what to do. I think he beats Nuno Borges. I was more convinced with Casper Ruud against Roman Safiullin than what I was with Nuno Borges against Facundo Banhas. Fucking hell, I can't speak. I can't speak. Yeah, I'm not really surprised Nuno Borges made that a lot more difficult for himself than what it needed to be. I say it all the time. He loves dropping sets. I say it about him and I say it about Khachanov. They just can't help themselves. Nuno Borges can't help himself. He loves dropping sets. I swear he does it on purpose sometimes. I swear sometimes he just needs to give himself a punch in the face. It's like punching yourself in the face just so you can get more angry and come back and win. But it tends to work for him. You can never really count him out. He is always a decent dog, to say the least, and he's coming into this one as a fairly decent dog, 2.7 to be exact. Little chunk of change, small chunk of cash coming in on Nuno Borges. Kind of expected that. I mean, couldn't talk anyone off going for the majority of these dogs the way Toronto's been going. But that's no basis on which to lay your bet. Absolutely not. Who's better? Casper Ruud. Who's been better this season? Casper Ruud. Who's been better on the hard court? Casper Ruud. Who's just been better everywhere? Casper Ruud. Who's put in the biggest stinker as of late? Probably Casper Ruud. I'd say that game against Cerundolo. When players put in a game like that, it just puts me off them for probably a lot longer than what it necessarily should. But you can't blame me. And it's always the way, a performance like that will put you off them, and you'll probably end up missing out on some decent prices like I did with Safiullin. But I was more than okay with that. And I think I'm more than okay with sitting off this one as well. Obviously, I want Casper Ruud to win. Do I think he's going to win? Based on what I've seen from the last time out from the pair of them, I do. If you want to go for Casper Ruud today, it's entirely up to you. That is entirely up to you. You pick your poison, you pay your money, and you take your choice. I say 3 sets against Facundo Banhas. Tough opening as well. I mean, barely got past him. He dropped that first set 7-5, and then it took a tiebreak in the second. Doesn't get much closer to defeat than that. He most definitely managed to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat in that one. Come back 6-2 in the third. Happy days. Happy days for Nuno Borges. Say, like, yeah, he was very convincing against them last time. Very convincing against Casper Ruud last time, but we didn't see Casper Ruud for quite some time after that match against Nuno Borges, so maybe that was the point in time where we can put a pin in that and say, oh yeah, Casper Ruud was just fucked in that one. That was the match, wasn't it? So maybe this time will be different. I'm hoping this time's different. I don't really want to watch Casper Ruud turn up and shit this one away. I'd like to think he won't. At 1.5, it's a sound parlay piece. It is a sound parlay piece. It really is. If you're taking Casper Ruud, you only need to find something small to pair that with, and you'll be all right for today. Like I said, with Nuno Borges as well, you could look at an over. Not only does he love dropping sets, he likes taking sets too. He likes to make it hard for himself. I imagine there'll be times in this match where Casper Ruud will look like he's in full control, then all of a sudden it'll just flip just like that, and then Nuno Borges could very well steal himself a set and make this one rather difficult for Casper Ruud. You never know. I think the over's not a bad shout. Casper Ruud at 1.5 will probably be the way. Hey, look, if I took Cam Norrie today at 1.5 against Alexander Vukic, he couldn't even fucking do that. I'd like to think Casper Ruud at 1.5 could beat Nuno Borges, but would you be surprised? Would you be surprised? Just ask yourself that. And then we'll move on to, excuse me, who've we got here? We've got Etcheverry, Cerundolo. Got ourselves an Argentinian shootout. Should be very interesting indeed. If this was on the clay, this would be absolute fucking fireworks, wouldn't it? These have been going back and forth with each other since 2016. Yeah, safe to say, more than familiar with the game of one another. Head to head is 5-4 to Francisco Cerundolo. Yeah, it's give and take. It's pretty much give and take, and it always has been that way with these. 8 of the 9 games have been played on the clay. The one match that was on the hard court did go the way of Etcheverry, 3-2 US Open last year. Not bad at all. Look, touching on Cerundolo really quick, I mean, it was kind of the same rule applied to him as what it did with Casper Ruud. He put in such an absolute shitter against Carlos Taberna. Kind of put me off him against Jamie Muller, but we said, didn't we? We said the price was fantastic. Around 1.7, you probably would have got more and more come nearer the time for that. A lot of people didn't trust Cerundolo based on what they've seen in Croatia, and you just knew he was going to turn up and deliver for you. So if you managed to take him at that price, well done. You managed to get on the right side of that. But I was more than fine with sitting off it, just for the sake of another upset. It was a decent win. Decent win indeed, although we were slightly favoured to get it done. Jamie Muller most definitely could have upset the apple cart in that one, especially after taking that second set. I feel like upset was most definitely brewing for Cerundolo, but he managed to get a grip of himself, something he couldn't do in the match prior, and see that one out. So you can't really ask for more than that. Happy days. As for Etcheverry, I mean, Pierre Hughes Herbert in the first round. It is what it is, innit? It is what it is. Took the 3 sets against him, and then he turns up against Tallinn Greeksport, and look, I don't want to take anything away from the win from Etcheverry. He stood strong, and he played his game. He played a decent enough game. Done what he had to do on the day, 6-4 and then a tiebreaker. Tallinn Greeksport looked like absolute shit. I said it is what it is. He just turned up, and within the first 3 games of the first set, I went, you know what, this is fucking done. This is a washout. I was like, he was already had his hands on his knees, doing the fucking rich baby daddy gang from like 3 games in, double break, and I was like, this is fucking toast. This guy does not deserve to be here. It's a shame, absolute shame. But nonetheless, still a solid win for Etcheverry. You've got to give him that. You're going to make me pick fucking Cerundolo in this one. You're going to make me pick Cerundolo in this one. 1.5, I'm seeing 1.55. Opened up at 1.4. Now currently rising to around, I imagine, what will become 1.6 by the looks of it. I'm assuming it may not. 3.2 for Etcheverry. We're now sitting at 2.6. So it's kind of what I expect. For the majority of these, we're getting some massive dogs over in Canada. And the majority of them have come to play as well, so kind of expect a little bit of cash to come in either way. We'll assess the situation near the time. Go for an over. Like I say, they could barely separate the pair of them the last time out, the only time on the hard court. So if it was on the clay, I'd probably fancy both of them to have a go at each other too, a set apiece. How much can we take away from the Etcheverry win against Griekspoor? Probably not that much, right? Hate to be the one to say it, but probably not that much. I do think Cerundolo, I do believe Cerundolo is the better player, the more complete player of the two. He's had a well better season, 30 and 17, okay. Most of that coming on the way of the clay. But 9 and 4 on the hard court is much better than 6 and 6. 24th in the world's better than 60th. I would probably lean with Francisco Cerundolo to get that one done, although I would not pick it with a lot of conviction. And then 2 more. Got Lorenzo Musetti, Alex Michelsen. I think Alex Michelsen could give Lorenzo Musetti a decent go in this one, although I ain't really seen that much since we've come back onto the hard court. He did get beat by Dan Evans in straight sets. Quite an easy win for Dan Evans over in Washington. And then the only win remains Thomas Barrios-Vera. Now, that doesn't hold much weight for me. He's gone back and forth with Barrios-Vera as well. There was times where it was looking like Thomas Barrios-Vera was at least going to steal a set, do some damage, but couldn't really manage to see that one through. Fair play to Alex Michelsen, although I expect him to get the win. It was a lot closer than what it probably needed to be. Tiebreak and then 6-3. Musetti beat James Duckworth, and I knew he would. I would have liked James Duckworth to have kept it a little bit closer. Came out with a little bit more energy in that second set. He done more than enough in the first. I had him plus the 4.5, 7-5 in the first. That's all I needed. More of the same in this one. 6-1. Call it fitness, call it what you want. He just got outclassed, outgunned, just outplayed by Lorenzo Musetti in that second set. Like I said, there was never a doubt in my mind. I thought Musetti was going to lose that one, but he ain't looked too great as we've come back onto the hard court, especially getting beat by Cam Norrie, which in hindsight probably looks even worse after yesterday. But good shit from Musetti. Most definitely looked like the guy we were seeing a couple months back. Same with Alex Michelsen, both only got 1 win on the hard court since they've come back. I think Alex Michelsen has probably got a little bit more, probably a bit more momentum coming into this, although he was on a 3-game losing streak prior to it. We see more of him over the grass season. We didn't see anything from Lorenzo Musetti. We seen him turn up to Wimbledon and he got sent home in that first round. It's tough to tell. It's very, very tough to tell. I think Michelsen's very solid indeed on the hard court. I think if the service game holds up, he can most definitely keep it close. I can see a tiebreaker in this. I can see a tiebreaker. We were that close. We were 1 game, 1 hold away from seeing a tiebreaker against James Duckworth. I think Alex Michelsen's service game is going to be a little bit more efficient because that's all it'll need to be. Just a little bit more potent. We get a tiebreaker, you get a close one. I think 2.5 is what Michelsen is currently sitting at on the spread. For those that are wondering, Lorenzo Musetti is currently at 1.5. He opened up at 1.65, 1.7. Quite a bit of cash. Quite a lot of people going early on the Italian today. He is the better of the two. So if you're just going off what we've seen this year, it's rather close indeed. 26 and 10 for Musetti, 23 and 18. I mean, it's not that close really. It's not bad for Alex Michelsen, but it's nowhere near as good as Lorenzo Musetti. Like I said, we pretty much missed him throughout the majority, if not all, of the grass campaign. I'd like to think he can beat Alex Michelsen. Musetti's top 10 now. Top 10 this season, and you can't say he doesn't deserve it. He's been one of the very few that actually looks like he deserves his ranking. He probably looks like he deserves to be higher, if I'm being honest with you. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be close. I'd lean towards Musetti. I'd give him the edge in this. If he's back to fitness and he's going to do what he was doing throughout the majority of the season, I'd fancy him. You would have picked him any other time earlier on the tour. I think I would have anyway. 1.6 at Bet365. That's very tempting. That is very tempting. I would have preferred it when it opened at 1.7, but unfortunately I've missed that. We'll see how much comes in on it. I mean, I don't think there's that much to split them, really. I don't think there's that much to split them. Watanuki gets the break. Nice, come on, we fucking need this. We fucking need this one, fellas, you know what I mean? After that Cam Norrie one, fucking wish me luck on that. And I wish you the best as well, anyone else who's taken that. 7 and 5 for Musetti this year on the hard, 11 and 8 for Alex Michelsen. I'd lean towards Musetti. I'm not going to overthink it anymore. And we're going to wrap this shit up because I've got some night shifts. And I've got about half an hour left before I've got to get ready, get my shit sorted. So I've got Alexander Muller and Holger Rune. Who is it going to be? Now, straight off the bat, I'm seeing Holger Rune around 1.2, and he did open up at 1.3, and it's now at 1.2. I don't think I would have went anywhere near Holger Rune at 1.3, so I'm certainly not going to go anywhere near him at 1.2. Absolutely fucking not. Are you mad? Alexander Muller put in a decent hustle, a decent shift against Khachanov. We kind of called it, you know. Kind of called it. I didn't just come out and say, oh, you know, Muller's going to win. Bet that. Absolutely not. But we kind of said it without saying it. Khachanov is he's an untrustworthy fucker, man. He really is. Said it, didn't I? Called it to a T. It was like the level that he brings is more than enough to take a set off the majority. But he cannot maintain it. He cannot maintain it. Won that first set and I thought, you know what? It's done for Alexander Muller. I was like, Khachanov is ahead in this. He won it 6-2. And then he drops the second one 6-3. Looks like a different person. And then right at the very end, ends up being 7-5 in the third, just when you need them most, or just when you would have needed them most, providing you'd have trusted them. But that's something I stopped doing quite some time ago. It's nothing personal, it's just strictly for business reasons, you know. Holger Rune looked decent against Gio and Pechi Pericard, although I'll admit that's probably not that difficult to do, you know, providing you can neutralise that first serve, or providing you can even get it off in the first place. You know, if that serve isn't hitting, he tends to be rather defenceless out there. But it was a decent win nonetheless. A lot of people pitching Gio as a dog for a win in that, and he never really looked like taking control in that one. Decent win for Holger Rune, considering he was in a bit of a slump before this, over on the grass, 3-game losing streak, dating back to the quarter-final of Queens. Most definitely be looking to get himself back on track, back to winning ways. Over on the hard court, these have played each other once before, back in 2021. On the clay, it went the way of Holger Rune. Doesn't really mean much this season. As far as the hard court progress this season, 10-6 for Alexander Muller, 10-5 for Holger Rune. Doesn't get closer than that. The only difference being, what I can say, is Alexander Muller's actually got himself a hard court title. Holger Rune, alright, he got that title over in Barcelona, and it was very, very impressive too, and he was this close to getting himself a title over at the Indian Wells until he ran into Jack Draper. But yeah, 1.2 for Holger Rune. It's kind of picking itself. I don't think I'm going to bother with Holger Rune. Certainly at not 1.2. You don't need me to tell you. You will all agree with this. For those that have been doing it long enough, 1.2 is not a Holger Rune price. Not a Holger Rune price, especially against Alexander Muller. This guy operates fairly decently as a dog, especially as a big one. I mean, 3-1, more than a 3-1, over a 3-1 dog. Spread or nothing, innit? It's the spread or nothing. If you have to take it, I'm not saying do take it. You know, you make your own decisions. We're all adults. Well, I hope we all are anyway. I'm going to say Holger Rune's the better player. I know he is. he probably should be the better player. Let's just say that 23 and 15 on the year, 21 and 19 for Alexander Muller. Me personally, I think on paper, even just looking at it, how they're going to turn up and act on the day, I couldn't tell you. We've just got to try and guess, haven't we? We do try our best, but I think just based on what we've seen this season, throughout the season as a whole, I think this one is a lot closer than what those odds are saying. Contrary to what that number is, I think Alexander Muller stands a bit of a better chance to pull off the upset against Holger Rune today. Absolutely. 3-1 dog. Have a look what the spread is for Alexander Muller. Not a bad way to look. Certainly not a bad way to look in that one. Certainly going to be more profitable than taking Holger Rune at 1.2. Bit of a price to pay for Holger Rune to potentially ruin your day. So that's going to do us. That is going to do us, folks. Happy days. Appreciate you watching. Thanks for stopping by, as always. Right then. Fucking night shift time for me. I can't complain. I only have to do 3 a week. You know, I'm off more days than I'm in. You know, that's great. That is most definitely the life for me as far as it gets for now anyway. I'll definitely be taking that. Wish me the best of luck. And I'll be wishing you the best of luck. Like and subscribe before you go. And I'll be saying good night to you. Take it easy, yeah? You take care of yourselves. You take care of one another. That is the most important thing, and it always will be. I'll see you in a bit, yeah? Let me know what you're going for. Get yourself involved. Don't be shy. Share with the group. We all like winners. Anything I'm going for is going to be in that pinned comment. If you want to take it, take it. If you don't, then don't. You do what you want with it. I ain't charging you shit for these, so it's just a personal play from me. You do with that what you will. I'm always interested to know what everyone else is feeling on the day. But that'll definitely do us. I will let you go about your business. See you in a bit, folks. It's always a pleasure. Have yourselves a good night.